Hello, hello, hello. It's Deborah Razzo and Courtney Jones here with Momentum Mentoring RE.com. Hey, we are mentors and we decided that we were going to share some of our knowledge with you guys, usually like it's a frequently asked question. So, Courtney, why don't you give them the question of this week? It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so the question this week was, do you do all your rehabs the same? Like, do you have a system and you do all your cabinets the same, all your sinks the same, etc.? Which I thought was really a great question because I suspect we are very different in this respect.
Oh,
Um,
oh.
so I'll just say that I don't do a lot of rehabs anymore. Deborah does a lot more than I do now. But back in the day when we did a lot of rehabs, we usually would have 3 to 5 going at any given time. So we were extremely systematized. Like, I mean, I have a spreadsheet with every single product that we use, every single item number that we use, every single color that we choose, all of that kind of stuff, and then little pictures. And I could go through when I was doing the walkthrough and decide it would be like, I need 2 of these, 5 of these, 12 of these. And every house was exactly the same. Now, I wouldn't do that today since I'm only doing onesie twosies, but I'm curious about your thoughts.
Okay, well, we're not that far separated. I'm actually kind of surprised. I do similarly. Like a lot of my rehabs look very similar. We're using the same tile. We're using the same paint colors. We're using the same flooring tile, colors. You know, the only way it might be different is that I tend to rehab a broader amount of houses as far as where they're located, from more economical houses to more luxury homes. Obviously with the luxury homes we need a more luxury finishings, that kind of thing. So there's going to be some variance there. And I not only have a list, but I actually, because I have a Home Depot Pro account, I can keep a lot of my favorites all together. And that way when I'm ordering, of course, because I love Home Depot. Don't get me wrong. Something about the fresh smell of lumber gets me going. But if I can avoid going, because usually I'm running there all the time if I have to, and if I can just take things from my list and put them in the orders and have them delivered to the site, that's what I'm doing, right? So yes, I am very organized that way. But I will tell you something. I have a very different system when I'm rehabbing for rent ready. And what I mean by that is there was a point at which I was picking up foreclosures. I was picking up buy and holds and they were foreclosures. And but I was getting them rent ready for renters, which for me is a different set of criteria
For
than
sure.
getting them rent ready for market. Like when I'm getting something, I'm sorry, when I'm getting rehabbing for the market. So when I'm getting something ready for the market, I really do examine that market where that house is. And I'll give an example. I had a home that was not far from the beach, but it was very much in a retirement community. And we were picking tile and picking things like that, and we were really staying with the muted colors, with herringbone, some of the more classic things that I'm just going to say an older demographic might enjoy, not like way out there glass tile, blah blah blah, right?
Right.
We're picking something that matches that. And I'm doing the same thing when I'm doing rentals. I'm picking stuff that will be comparable in that rental market. Really important to do research the market.
Right. Well, and when you're doing rentals and they're your rentals, you want things to be consistent so that when you have repairs to make, you're not having to be like hunting down 15 different types of paint. When somebody moves out and you have to go do touch ups, you want to know that all of those units are the same paint or the same countertop or the same cabinet. So you can take a door off here and do all that kind of stuff. So totally dependent on that. I'm always a little envious of when I watch HGTV rehab shows because they always put all these fancy flares in them and everything, and they personalize it to each and every house. And I'm a little envious, but I also laugh because I know it's so not reality at all. Because if you're really doing rehabs for a business, if you don't have a system down and you don't have some consistency in it, it'll drive you ragged, right? So
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think you have to have a system if you're doing more than a couple of rehabs a year
Yeah.
and know that you're going to do cabinets, this particular cabinet in this particular color and so forth. I will say that I do like to kind of look at that list every year or so just to make sure. that our colors are in style. Like right now, I'm kind of trying to get away from the white and gray total. Like I do think it's a classic look and it's been around for a long time, but it's also kind of been overdone a lot in the last few years. So I'm definitely looking for some new things right now to kind of look classic, but give my rehabs a different look than say every other rehabber in the market. So
yeah, and you know what? One of the things I want to mention, because it's one of the things that comes up a lot when we're mentoring, is that there are a lot of students that are wanting to do their first rehabs, and I'm going to just say it, fall in love with their home. Don't fall in love with your home, please. Look at the market. Do what the market dictates, not like buying that stove you've always wanted to have. No, this isn't about you. Get that in your dream home. This is a business decision, and the decisions should, match the demographic, not your particular likes. And I have found that when people get into that, then when they start falling in love with their home, they have the decision-making process becomes more and more tedious
and expensive.
And expensive, right? And they're toiling over these decisions, and it's like, no, honey, don't, no.
It's just a toilet, pick one, right?
Yeah, toilet, pick one. It's paint color, pick one. It was neutral, you're right. So
sure.
if I had to say, another lesson that needs to be learned is don't fall in love with your home. Do what the market dictates. Don't make it personal. This isn't your home, right?
It's just a commodity. I mean, you have to look at it that way. I know it seems a little impersonal, but it is a business and it's just a commodity. So you have to make it look good for what the market is demanding. And that's it.
Make it appealing to those that are going to be there.
Exactly.
Hey, if you want, go ahead.
If anybody wants to know more about mentoring with us, and as you can hear, we have a lot of experience. MomentumMentoringRE.com is the website to go to learn all about our mentoring program. We'd love to work with you. It's a small group, and we're pretty familiar with one another. We work real close hand in hand with each other. You can learn more about it again at MomentumMentoringRE.com.
Yeah, or maybe you just want to hear more about these tips. We're doing them on a weekly basis. So like this, depending on what medium you're in, or put a comment down below. We'll answer your questions if you have them, or maybe that's the question we'll answer next week. So subscribe, like, comment, you know the deal.
Wherever you happen to be and however you happen to be consuming this, make sure you give us some love. That's all we're asking.
Right. All right. Thank you for joining us today.